So one of the things that I struggle with as a researcher is the ability to read a large amount of material. This is something that's always been very difficult for me to do, is to actually sit down and read. And I know lots of people would sort of suggest that or talk about that as as scholars, but for me it's spectacularly different. And this was one of my realizations with having ADHD when I've been growing up, right? So I talk about this story a lot, but I was in sort of special ed for a number of years in a small public school. They really didn't know about that when I was growing up, and I discovered that as I got older, and sort of living life experience or having life experience. It's the only test at which I ever passed with flying colors. Although I do have questions with the test itself, but anyways, I digress. What I was pointing out, or what I was thinking about, is to realize that you're gonna struggle at sort of different aspects of what we do, or just different aspects of your career. And I am getting better at not worrying about that so much. I used to really, really worry about those things and put a great deal of emphasis on it, where I was thinking like, oh man, I'm not getting enough read, or I'm not doing all of these kind of things. There's all these great ideas that are coming up. And frankly, I'm learning to wing it a little bit more, where I don't need to read everything, and I just do my thing. I spend more time writing, which is still very difficult for me because it's essentially putting ideas onto paper, but I spend almost all of my time writing rather than reading. And it seems really bizarre to do that and to emphasize that, but I just don't have the time and bandwidth to sit there and read everything. I know that's sort of troublesome. I know lots of people would probably crap on me for doing that. I can't even sort of skim things as some people actually do. I know people have different sort of systems where they look at abstracts. I just can't. Don't have the capability to do those things. And yes, I'm probably far behind on a lot of stuff and a lot of ideas, but the only thing I could do is just take the steps forward with the sort of capabilities that I have. And so right now, I was sitting in my desk for long enough that I was getting to the point where I was kind of struggling. I was like, okay, I gotta move. It was maybe 4 hours. I was sitting at my desk, not including, I know this is ridiculous, but I include going to the bathroom as like a break in my mind. That's the academic life. Running and going pee is a break. But, all of that, right? After a while, I just cannot physically do it anymore. I need to get out. I need to stretch. I need to get some air so that I can get back and do a little bit more again. And I sort of feel it after some time. It's not quite exhaustion. It's just, I just feel not as efficient with what I'm doing. I'm sort of mind wandering and things like that. So I just need to get out and get exercise. So for me, and hopefully maybe there's other people out there that are like this, spending the time being an academic is the way that it's sort of depicted in the research game, that, that the myths that we tell ourselves is just not true to me. And for me, it might be that people look at me and think like, who is this person? You know, they're an absolute nobody, and they're right. I just can't do it. So what I possibly could do, the other option is I take some form of drugs, whatever that is, some form of pharmaceuticals. Drugs is kind of a weighted terminology, but some sort of pharmaceuticals. I do drink coffee. That's my sort of drug of choice, but some sort of pharmaceuticals to keep my focus up. And I've chosen not to. I've chosen to do physical activity. I've chosen to, eat properly. I do eat. If you saw me, you would probably think, oh, this guy is like, all he does is eat. But all I do is eat. It's like apples and carrots and things like that to keep my mind sharp. So, long story short is whatever you are doing and however you are, whatever the world that you actually live in, just be patient with yourself. Sometimes that's not your thing, right? I think at this moment in my life, spending more hours reading is not going to be helpful for me. But, it was really helpful for me early on in my career in terms of what I was doing. I used to spend hours and hours and hours studying and reading material and rereading material. I still do, but it shifted and it's changed in terms of what I actually do. So whether I'm sort of writing the tales of capabilities that I developed earlier, I don't know, versus whether I am, sort of just changing and recognizing that I'm not that person that I thought I was and what the rest of the world thought I was. I don't know. But I just know that whatever's going on in your life, right? I think that's the ultimate message of what I try to repeat on this podcast is whatever is going on in your life, you're doing absolutely fine for who you are at this moment. And, sometimes it's a struggle. Often, almost all the time it's a struggle, but you just get back up and you keep doing it. And if you have to read a little bit and it takes you a little longer and everybody else takes you a lot longer and everybody else, well, so be it, right? Like that is where you are at this moment. And you just get back up and you do it again. And you repeatedly do that until, well, I don't know when, right? I can't promise that things will click. I can't promise anything other than that's just what you do. And that's how you live a healthy, okay life where you're negotiating with yourself that, hey, I get up and I do this and that's fine. And repeat. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.